He leaned back in his chair, a smirk cutting through the fluorescent light. "Smile more," he said, sliding the folder across the polished table. "My folder, my proposal." And she, his mistress in red, leaned forward, tracing a finger over the embossed cover as if she'd written it herself. She looked at me, slow, deliberate. "Try harder next time." The room laughed with him. I didn't. I closed my notebook, stood, and walked out without a word. They thought silence meant surrender. They never noticed the door closing behind me was the sound of a war quietly declared. I remember when he first hired me. His voice had carried warmth then, almost admiration. I was the bright one, the fixer, the strategist who built solutions while he collected the credit. He used to linger at my desk, asking for my thoughts, praising my precision. I believed him. I gave years of my life to the empire we built, brick by brick, never seeing whose name was etched in gold at the top. When she arrived, everything shifted. Meetings ran longer, but my ideas shortened on the agenda. His praise became dismissals. Too cautious, too rigid, not bold enough. Yet the boldness he craved wasn't in strategy. It was in her laugh, her perfume clouding the air as she slid into rooms that weren't hers. I didn't suspect it first, not really. But betrayal has a scent. It lingers in forgotten texts on a shared printer, in champagne receipts filed under miscellaneous expenses, in the way two people avoid looking at each other when they've already said too much. I saw it. I said nothing. The night I knew for certain, I stood in the hallway outside his office. Their voices carried through the door. Her purr, self-satisfied, cruel. "She'll never last. She doesn't fight." And his reply, low, amused. "She doesn't have it in her." I pressed my hand against the cold wall, breathing through the sting. But rage never owned me. I caged it. I fed it discipline. That was the night I stopped being his employee and started becoming his reckoning. The first move was patience. I left quietly, citing burnout, family reasons. Let him believe I was broken. He signed my exit papers without looking up, already distracted by her smile. That suited me, because I didn't just leave. I took everything they dismissed, my research, my drafts, my unfinished proposals, and rebuilt them in silence. I filed patents under my name, registered trademarks they hadn't bothered to secure. I watched the markets shift, the cracks in their strategies widening, and I slipped my work into the right hands with the right timing. Investors don't care about affairs, they care about numbers, and my numbers sang. Weeks bled into months. They were too busy feeding each other illusions to notice the company bleeding clients to a ghost competitor they couldn't identify. My competitor. Me. Then came the invitation. Board meeting. Emergency session. I smiled when I read it. That morning, they strutted into the boardroom, confident in their armor of arrogance. He in his tailored navy suit, she in scarlet silk. Their laughter filled the room until it fell against silence, because the screen behind me displayed their future, and it didn't belong to them anymore. My name glowed on the opening slide. My company's name. My proposal. Their stolen treasure, reborn and claimed. I stood, calm, controlled, every eye on me. "Let's finish what you started." The words hit him like a slow blade. I watched confusion tighten his jaw, watched her smirk falter into panic. I presented without haste, every point laced with precision, each chart a reminder of what they discarded. I showed the board how their empire had been outmaneuvered, how contracts were already locked under my name, how their future revenues had been siphoned into my coffers before they even noticed the leak. He tried to interrupt. "She's lying!" But the documents were already circulating, sealed, signed, investors nodding, the board shifting in their seats, his power dissolving in real time. She tried to laugh it off, that same purr turned brittle. "This is ridiculous! She's bitter!" And then came the coup de grace. I leaned forward, slid a contract across the table, the very proposal she once held as her own. "Funny thing about ideas," I said softly, "you have to be able to prove they're yours. The legal watermark, the timestamp, my signature, indisputable." The board's silence was the sound of her career ending. He sagged back in his chair, realization clawing across his face. Years of power gone in one meeting. She turned on him then, venom replacing charm, but it was too late. They were sinking together, bound by the weight of their own deceit. And me? I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. Their ruin was loud enough without my voice. Afterward, when the board voted, unanimous in my favor, I walked out the same way I had weeks ago, quietly, calmly. But this time, the silence wasn't surrender.